Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Boxing Bros UK. I am a hiss, Chris. This is my co-host, Andrew, the Boxing Brain. I hope everyone had a good Christmas from the Boxing Bros. Are you looking forward to the new year? We had to drop this video because, have you seen what's it called, Family Guy, where he's got his own TV show? You know what really grinds my gears? Well, there's something that's grinding mine and Andrew's gears right now, and we want to really get it out. I'll let you take it away, brother. The topic today.
Yeah. So, well, essentially, the topic of conversation we want to have is that we just don't feel that Usyk currently, and this tends to happen, doesn't it, historically anyway? And we were talking a bit about this off air. You know, Lennox Lewis at the time when he recently stopped. Oh, but he didn't really beat anyone in his prime, etc., etc. And I can hear all this across the media now. And but the generation's not very good. It's not like it was in the 70s and the 90s, and this, that, and the other. And I think because Usyk hasn't got the personality, maybe, although I really like his personality. And we're just a little bit sick, Chris, aren't we, of what's going around at the moment about. I don't really, and we'll go more into detail. We've both kind of got our topics on this, but what does this guy have to do to get a universal respect? Because I think Frank Warren's still walking around looking at the scorecards, like talking to anyone that'll listen. And Fury, right, just to finish on this and then get your kind of just initial insight. Fury in the post-fight interview, like I've been wanting to say this on air for a while. I thought, like, it really kind of like, I really like want to love Fury, and he just things he comes out with. And someone said, "You've done 24 rounds with Usyk now. Is he the best you've ever fought?" "Oh no, not really. Never hurt me once." I thought, for God, like honestly. You can't even give him his props, and he's been in there for 24 rounds and been outclassed. Like he's just better than you. Like, you just give the man his flowers, as you would say, Chris.
You've got to. I mean, just can't do it. Well, this is a thing. Well, actually, we'll put this guy's video on first, shall we?
Yeah, go. Why not?
Yeah. So there's a video called, what's he called? The Connoisseur.
His name's Cloister. Cloister, I think.
So Cloister.
Shout out. Is it?
Please let me just double check that we're saying that right. I don't think Cloister. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's how you pronounce it.
We'll give a shout out to Cloister's boxing channel and Cloister. Do you know what? I like Red Dwarf. Yeah. And
classic.
Cloister the Stupid from the Cat Bible. That was his name in the Cat Bible. But the cats it was supposed to be called Lister, but because they were cats, they heard it as Cloister when they made the Cat Bible in Red Dwarf. Well, yeah, that's just a little side thing. Cloister, and that lady's in Red Dwarf. Anyway, Cloister, his boxing channel, and he really expresses like how you've got to put Usyk in the top 10 at least. You got to, and he breaks it down. Yeah. We're going to give this guy a little shout out and highlight some of the people in the comment section as well, because we're on the same page with this guy.
Yeah.
Let's do a screen share. Okay. Are you on?
Yeah, it's just buffering up now, mate. So here we go, just about to start.
This bit about and to give us a few days to really digest that win. Since the fight, the big debate I've seen online has been: is Usyk pound for pound number one, and more importantly, is Usyk an all-time great? So today I want to break down this idea and just have a look at Usyk's legacy and just how he'll truly be remembered. Now, first off, aside from his recent victory, let's just go back a bit. The Tyson fight seemed to be the cherry on top to kickstart this whole conversation about Usyk being an all-time great. And this win isn't the complete reason for this call. A lot of it sits on what's led up to this victory. Usyk had a solid amateur career with a 355 to 50 record, which is pretty crazy if you really think about it.
That's a mental record, isn't it?
Yeah. Alongside this impressive amateur record, he also went along to the 2012 Olympics. He would end up winning the gold medal for Ukraine. He would then turn pro in 2013, pretty late at the age of 26, signing with the Klitschko Brothers promotional company. Starting in the cruiserweight division, Usyk jumped straight into tough fights against fighters with a lot more experience than him. Within a year, in 2014, he was fighting for the interim WBO Intercontinental Cruiserweight title. He would defend this title against a former cruiserweight champion. On his road to a world title, he would also defeat a former South African light heavyweight champion in against them. Little-known Cuban boxer Pedro Rodriguez pushed Usyk into the number 1 position for the WBO rankings, meaning within a small 3-year period after turning pro, Usyk would find himself in a world title fight against undefeated Polish boxer Cloister, who was 26-0 at the time. Usyk would end up winning this bout by points and earning himself his first ever world title. He would then make his US debut on the undercard of Hopkins versus Joe Smith Jr., fighting against a little-known South African fighter. He would end up winning his debut by knockout in the 9th. Funnily enough, after his debut, he talked about his desire to fight Anthony Joshua at heavyweight, which was pretty much laughed off at the time. He would then break down American prospect Michael Hunter. Post this fight, he would enter the World Boxing Super Series, which was an 8-man tournament which sought to unify the belts. He first fought WBO champion Marco Huck, which he would go on to win by TKO. His next fight at the tournament would really be his toughest fight to date, against Breeders. And you might have seen him before, as he fought Alberto as the co-main.
Do you want to pause it there quickly, Chris?
Yeah.
This was no slouch, but he fought Usyk.
I mean, there's loads of points I can make, but one of the big ones I want to make, and then get your opinion on it. The amount of times he fought in foreign soil. Now, we know in football, right, how winning away from home is so much harder for numerous reasons. You know, your home crowd isn't there. You're not in familiar territory. You know, other teams always play better at home. And the same's true for boxing. If you're at Wembley Arena and you're Anthony Joshua Fury, you're going to have massive, massive support. The amount of times in the 2 divisions that he's gone away from home, never, ever shied away from a challenge, fought everybody that he can fight that didn't want to duck him. Like, if that's not an elite mentality and one of the greatest in itself, just from that perspective, Chris, I don't really know what is. I mean, how many times has Fury ducked fighters? Let's be honest, right? And I'm a fan. He's done it loads of times, Chris.
I can tell you Fury's ducked. He's ducked AJ. He's ducked David Price. He ducked Dylan White.
Joe Joyce.
Yeah, because this is mandatory. Like, you can make all the excuses in the world, but he said he wanted to fight him, and then he didn't. And he ducked Usyk as well. Usyk never ducked no smoke ever. Like, and this is the thing, yeah. You can't. This is one point that I've got to say before we get back into it. You can't say you can't put an all-time great list, when he's the only fighter today that is doing what people like Ali and Joe Frazier did back in the day. Duck no smoke. Ali never ducked no smoke ever. Yeah, back in the day, he never ducked no one. Even Tyson can't even say that. None of them, even those guys from the 90s, they can't all say that. The only people can say that is Joe Frazier, Ali, Ken Norton, those old school, Marciano, all them guys, Joe Louis, them guys, they never ducked no smoke, that generation, that older one. Usyk's the only fighter from this generation who never ducks any smoke and wins. Obviously, I've got to give Anthony Joshua a shout out. AJ's never ducked anyone in his life, but he doesn't always win. Do you know what I mean? Usyk, he's got the talent to not duck the smoke and always win as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well said, Chris. Well said.
Right. Get back into the sharing.
Oh man, honestly, give this guy his props. Fuck me.
Are you ready? Is it loaded?
Yeah.
23-0 record. And being a favourite for the tournament. Even now, current champion of there, since he used to look up to Breeders. Breeders back then was absolutely world class. The fight happened, and one judge scored it a draw, while 2 others scored in favour of Usyk by just 1 point. He even said at the end of this fight that this was his toughest fight to date for his career so far. Usyk would then go on to fight fellow finalist in Gassiev in Moscow. He would dominantly win a unanimous decision and would be crowned the winner of the World Boxing Super Series and become the first ever four-belt undisputed cruiserweight champion. He would then have one last fight at cruiserweight against Tony Bellew before moving up to heavyweight. He would vacate the cruiserweight belt, challenging for a heavyweight title. He would go against Witherspoon and then Derek Chisora before eventually landing on the door of then heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. Of course, he would end up beating Joshua by unanimous decision in Joshua's own backyard, followed by a rematch where he would win again, with Joshua having a meltdown after the fight. As a result of these bouts, Usyk was now a two-division world champion. He would then defend these belts against prospects Daniel Dubois, and then that brings us to the long day with his last bout against Fury for the undisputed title. With that out of the way, I want to talk about his status as an all-time great. Is he a great in his current generation of fighters? Absolutely. He's a two-time undisputed champion. That's absolutely huge. But when we get into the all-time great debate, things get a little bit harder. I think we're breaking it down. Instead of exactly pointing at a specific numbered list where he sits, I think it's better to look at if Usyk would sit in the top 20 all-time heavyweights or even in the top 10. I think what's important when thinking about the greatest fighters of all time is to focus mainly on the biggest wins and their career accomplishments. It's important to look at singular wins as well as their career as a package. A lot of the time when we see people compile these lists of all-time greats, and especially heavyweight greats, we see people base these lists around more so cultural impact than the boxing itself. And yes, while certain boxers might be more legendary because of their antics and the way they speak and present themselves, I think we need to.
I'm just gonna pause it there.
Yeah.
I just want to say something as well. Do you know what? This guy's really, really right there.
Yeah, he's spot on, isn't he? Good analysis.
Right. Boxing is not a popularity contest. It's not a money contest. You can't say, yeah, but who sells out Wembley? Who makes all this money? That's got nothing to do with boxing, whatever. He hit the nail on the head there. He said about people's antics, what they say. I know a lot of people, because people always say about Ali, you only think he's the greatest because he kept saying it all the time. So he's like hypnotized everyone to saying that he's the greatest when if you actually analyze it, he's not. But he did do that. But I always feel he's the greatest because of his achievements and doing longevity. But I don't want to go into that. This is about Usyk. But Usyk, he is a character, but he's a language barrier. And boxing, the main boxing markets is UK, America, Saudi, and they're all really English speaking. So where his country, he's East European, boxing's not really big or there. They're not though. So there's a bit of a language barrier for him, and he's always fighting on the road because that's where the money is. So people aren't really appreciating how funny and quirky he is because he is quite a funny guy. So you got the language barrier. Also, he's not a cocky shit talker. Yeah, he's just and he's not extreme in anything, just a humble guy, loves his family and stuff, and he's not knocking people out that much. So people are, especially at heavyweight, so he's just not getting the love and the appreciation because everyone's just all bloodthirsty monsters and they're not.
I know. Yeah, like the Colosseum in Rome, isn't it? Like blood sport.
Well, they just don't want to appreciate the sweet science, Like Mayweather, for an example, I hate Mayweather as a person. It just annoys the shit out of me. It does my fucking head in. Everything that he says, everything that he does, how he acts. I don't know the guy, but his persona, don't like it. So I don't. But I have to appreciate his boxing. But because I don't really like him, I'm not biased. I'm always objective. I don't really like to watch his fights or see him doing well. But Usyk, because he's actually a nice guy, because I do like boxing, I do appreciate boxing, because he's a nice guy and he's a bit quirky. I love to watch his fights, So I don't understand why he's not getting that love. Is he supposed to be an arsehole and be a prick?
I think
to get people to appreciate him. Is that what people want? I don't know.
I think there's a bit of that, and I'll just kind of add a little bit on the back of what you said before we watch the rest of it. That I think there's a big element of that, and in kind of boxing and certain sports, maybe in boxing in particular, because he's not because he's not got that, I guess, flamboyant, aggressive kind of trash talking that Mike Tyson had, or, you know, I mean, Lennox Lewis wasn't really that type of guy, but he didn't have maybe the personality of a Frank Bruno, or, you know, I'm kind of going back into Ali. You know, he's
I hated Lennox Lewis, to be fair.
He's very stoic. He's very professional. He's a consummate professional. I think we need more people like Usyk in boxing and in the heavyweight game and in the modern era, because he's a great example to young kids wanting to get into the sport and in sport in general. He's a great example and credit to his country. He's a fighting man. He's a fighter through and through. He's hard as nails. He's skillful. Yes, he isn't getting the knockouts at heavyweight. He's having to come up from cruiserweight. How many cruiserweights? You can count on one hand, not even one hand, how many cruiserweights have gone up to heavyweight and excelled. I mean, Evander Holyfield and David Haye are two that spring to mind, but there ain't a great list. This is why the Bridgerweight division was made, Chris, to try and, because it's so difficult. I don't think people understand. It's so difficult to campaign at 14 and a half fucking stone and then start fighting people 6'10" and 19 stone. It's no joke. I'm getting fed up with this. Like, if that's not a pound for pound legend right there, he's fighting a monster like Fury, right, which is fucking hard work to keep a big guy like that off you. And it just frustrates me.
Exactly. And it's just really, really sad, man, because it just give the guys props, like you say. But anyway, let's get do you know what? Another thing I'll say, I'm sorry, just before we go back into it.
No, go for it.
Usyk is like, you know when let's say when you're a man, yeah, and you treat him mean, keep him keen, yeah. So because Usyk's being nice, he's not getting the appreciation. If he was being like Flory and like treating the fans like shit, mugging us off, giving us cherry pick fights, treating us like a twat, then you love him more. That's how I feel. Usyk's like the nice woman that you take for granted.
I know, it's true. It's a fair point, that. Chris, it's a fair point.
You can't stop loving him.
It's a fair point, that, and I think we won't go too deep into psychology, because you know what I'm like, but that's a sad indictment of modern society and very damaged people. We live in a society now of a lot of damaged people looking for immediate gratification. Instagrammers, OnlyFans models, you know, Auntie Deirdre down the road's doing a fucking OnlyFans now. Do you know what I mean? We live in this society. You've got a nice guy. Me and Chris are nice guys, but we won't take any nonsense. But that's a really good example. Usyk's a nice guy, and I think we like a bit of a cunt. We like a bit of an arsehole. And I think it's all wrong. It's all wrong.
It's wrong. Why can't you just like the nice guy? But you want to love the guy that treats you like shit.
Big up the nice guys.
Yeah, for sure. Right, let's get into the rest of it.
Oh, dear.
Really focus more on the boxing. Now, I'm not going to create a complete heavyweight great list, but let me present you with some facts so you come to your own decision about where Usyk might sit. His reign at cruiserweight was historic. There's no doubt about that. It became undisputed for the first time ever in the cruiserweight division in the four-belt era. He pretty much cleared out the division, beating both prospects in, say, Michael Hunter, taking care of the best the division had to offer in Britus and Belt.
Gassier.
In a short space of time. And he's pretty much done the same. He's taken the hardest fights he could against, say, Joshua, Dubois, and Fury, earning himself that undisputed title. Earning it, more specifically, as has been so many times over the past couple of weeks, the first time in almost 25 years. He's also done so pretty much completely on the road. His last fight in Ukraine was in 2015. And the closest he's got to fighting back there since was in Poland against Dubois last year. So pretty much he's won all of these achievements on enemy territory. I think something also important to note, or at least I consider important, is how hard I think it is to jump divisions from cruiser to heavy. Going from cruiserweight to a heavyweight division where most of the champions are absolutely massive, and you're pretty undersized in comparison, and you're still dominating, is a massively impressive feat. Just to highlight how tough that is, there's now a division that was made called Bridgerweight, aimed to provide something in the middle so the gap wouldn't be so large between the weights. Say if Usyk wins against Fury again in the rematch, I think it'd be hard to debate that he isn't the best heavyweight of this generation. After Fury, who else is there for him to fight at this point? The answer is pretty much no one. No other fight will really do much for his legacy. In my opinion, I think it'd be absolutely debatable after a second Fury win to possibly rank him in the top 10 heavyweights of all time. Olympic gold medal, undisputed in 2 divisions, versing generational greats, and finishing undefeated. That's a pretty good case. But now I want to hear your thoughts. How do you rank Usyk? Do you see him as an all-time great? I want to hear all your thoughts below. Just quickly, if this is your first time watching a video of mine.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Okay.
Good video. Just a nice, I thought just for our viewers, just to look at a nice, proper analysis, nice and short, doesn't blabber on too much, like all these talking heads, talks, well, Gareth A. David talking rubbish for 2 hours, expecting you to tune in for the whole thing, and just breaks down the facts, because that's what I like. I like facts. You know, facts don't care about your feelings, all you Usyk haters out there. Facts are facts. And what he's achieved, he can't do anything about the fact that the generation isn't as good as the 90s and 70s. He can only do exactly what he's done for me and Chris to put him in the top 10 of all time, because the generation's not his fault. You know, what's he supposed to do about that? You know?
Wait, Shalom, come. If you need something, just get it. Just be quiet, yeah? It's my niece. So,
yeah,
anyway, this is the thing, the problem with boxing fans. So, I'm going to have a little rant here. So, we're going to start back. We're going to start back, yeah? We're going to go back to Rocky Marciano, right? He was, everyone thinks he's great now. At the time, not so much. Oh, he beat Joe Louis. Joe Louis wasn't even in his prime. He came out of retirement to fight him. Didn't give Rocky Marciano credit for that win. When he beat Jersey Joe Walcott, he only landed that lucky punch, Susie Q, you know, to win the fight. He was getting smashed all fight and losing. This is what they were saying. They weren't giving him his credit. And then he had the rematch and he did it better. And then obviously, Rocky Marciano, he's been a professional for a long time. And he only got the fight against Joe Louis because it was a cherry pick gone wrong. Yeah, and he won. And then that's how. And then when he won the title, I think he's defended his title 6 times and then retired undefeated, 50-0. But he only had 6 title defenses, yeah? And then now he's regarded as an all-time great. What, 6 title defenses, and that's it. And the only people that he beat on his resume, but I'm not discrediting it. I think it's amazing feat. You've got to give people their props. And then you've got Michael Spinks, Hall of Famer, light heavyweight, moved from light heavyweight, because there was no cruiserweight, all the way up to heavyweight, dominated. And he got appreciation for that when he retired, because they kept saying, oh, he's too small. Then obviously he fights Tyson, and Tyson absolutely annihilates him. And then we'll even go to Tyson. When Tyson was fighting, he's just knocking everyone out because the era is so weak. What they're saying about Usyk now, the era is weak, and he's not really fought anyone, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but whoever was there, he beat them all, and he was fighting 4 times a year. He won a heavyweight tournament, and he's the youngest ever heavyweight champion ever, and you can't take that away. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just the same, when you get to Lennox Lewis, everyone was saying, he never fights anyone in his prime. He's chinny. He's shit. If he fought Tyson in his prime, he would have lost. Blah blah blah. Like, don't give him his flowers. They never gave Lennox Lewis his flowers. And he was another one because he didn't really have a likable kind of personality. Like trash talking was like Dubois trash talking, very cringy and not nice. But people was giving the respect that how good he was, and it's not Lewis's fault. And even when he retired, he nearly lost to Vitali. He should have rematched him. He got out while he could. The guy's been dominating the heavyweight division for about 10 years. He's the first proper undisputed. He won the undisputed championship in the 3-belt era, like the first. He did that. I don't think he was the first one to do it, but anyway, he did all that, and he fought Vitali. He's getting on a bit. It's like people, they want him to stay on till they lose. And then now we come to Usyk. He's getting the same shit that all the legends from the past. And in about 10 years, he's going to get his flowers then. Usyk's getting told, he's no good. He needs to do this. He needs to fight Dubois. He needs to fight Bacoli. He needs to fight Bacoli. He needs to wait for a tumor. He needs to wait for a tumor to come out for a year and beat him, and he needs to do all this stuff. He doesn't need to do.
And what'll happen is he'll probably still, because he's such a fighting man, you know, he'll probably be still fighting at 40, 41, maybe eventually lose to like an Atoma or something. Oh, see, I told you, he's no good.
He's no good. Like,
I mean, Dustin, how good does the Dubois win look now? I know Dubois since then's gone on a bit of momentum, and I think that is maybe the one fight we'd like to see run again. But how good does that win, knocking Dubois out? Because, you know, after the demolition job, Dubois, and everyone's talking about Dubois and Atoma being the future of the division over the next 10 years now. Well, you know, that's another one, right? Let's say Dubois goes on to dominate now for the next 10 years and Atoma. Well, that surely that you can then look back in 10 years and go, oh, well, to be fair, I know AJ and Fury may be a bit overrated, but Dubois, he was a bit special. I'm sort of imagining what can happen. And Dubois was a bit special, though, like, and he knocked him out. Do you know what I mean?
It's like, for me, to play devil's advocate, obviously, if we took the Dubois fight, I think that you can't say that does nothing for his legacy because he's already beat him, because it would really cement his legacy. I put a chair. If he retired now, he's still definitely top 10 or whatever. Like, he's still up there for me. But I just think he can really improve himself to say, right, I ain't gonna fight my mandatories, but I am gonna fight. Well, he doesn't like. I'm not gonna stay in it for like. He's not gonna be like Lennox Lewis, like Klitschko, and like Lewis and Ali and all them, and have like 10 consecutive title defenses, lose, win it back. He don't want to do all that, but at least he's fighting the best out there, the other champions. Yeah. So if he fights Dubois and he beats Dubois and becomes a 2-time 4-belt era undisputed champion, I think that would and then retire. Because then let's look at our generation. If you think about it, the top 5 fighters in this generation, I define that for people who've been world champion, minus Andy Ruiz, because he's just like a Frank Bruno, like a flash in the pan, you know. Shit. But AJ Wilder, Fury, Usyk, these are the 4 guys of this generation, who are the ones in this era. They're the ones who beat everyone. They're the ones who retired the old guard, beat Klitschko. Yes, they lost. It's boxing. When you fight at the top level, you lose. That's how it goes. And Usyk's beat every single fucking one of them. So, and if he beats Dubois, he's beat every single one of them twice. So you've got to give him his respect.
Not just once, twice.
If he fights Dubois,
little question for you, because Usyk, he had 310 plus fight. I think he only lost did he lose eight amateur fights out of over 300? I mean, that alone is exceptional.
It was 15. I think it was 15, but it was nearly 400, wasn't it?
Yeah, so he had a lot of amateur fights and didn't lose too many, you know, considering the amount of fights he had at amateur. He obviously turned over a little bit late. He hasn't had too many pro fights. I wonder if that's maybe an element where people are like, oh, he hasn't been around the pro game too. But my argument is, look at what he's done. He's just ran through both divisions in a short space of time. He's just gone bang, 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 fought you twice, beat you twice, knocked Dubois out, your young gun. Done. Job done. Thank you very much. In a short space of time.
You can't, and he's fighting because people say, oh, the generation's not as good. I think it's a very good generation, to be fair. The fighters are all bigger, all taller, all hit harder.
Faster, stronger.
And if you think about it, it's like if you go back, like Joe Louis and Rocky Marciano, they were like barely heavyweights, more like cruiserweights. If you really go small. Rocky Marciano today will be a cruiserweight. And maybe so with Joe Louis. Like, they weren't big guys.
And my argument as well, just to sort of come in a little bit off what you're saying, you know, I hear a lot of people say, oh, yeah, but what would Usyk have done with a Larry Holmes and a Lennox Lewis jab, right? 2 of the best jabs in the I mean, Muhammad Ali's jab weren't bad, but people talk about, you know, maybe Klitschko, he had a very strong jab. Dubois got a good jab now, but Larry Holmes and Lou, what would he have done with? Look at what Fury is doing with his jab. Yeah, but what people underestimate with Usyk, one of his biggest skill sets, and he has a whole load of skills, is to negate what his opponent does. And I think, we don't know, do we, against Larry Holmes? I hate all this comparing eras, and but he would adjust, and his IQ would be cute enough that he would probably. I'm not saying who would win in those fantasy matchups, but he would find a way, slipping the jab, getting underneath the jab, you know, doubling up his own jab to try and get inside the taller man like Lewis, who's a couple of inches taller than him, doubling up, you know, first, second, third phase. You know, this guy's that intelligent. That is reductive. When you've got boxing trainers who should know more than me and you, but a lot of them don't, going, but how would he? Oh, he wouldn't be able to do anything with a Larry Holmes and Lennox Lewis jab.
Oh, you crashed there. Oh,
yeah, I think I'm not sure how much of the last bit of what you got there, but we don't know, do we? We don't know. Okay, you know, the people coming out saying, "Oh, you know, what would he do with those brilliant jabs from Larry Holmes and Lewis?" But we don't know. And like I say, to reiterate my point, one of his biggest gifts is to study the opponent, download what they've got, and to adapt his game plan accordingly. I would dare say, all right, Fury's jab was causing him a few problems, but not enough for him to be that bothered about. If he was in there against Lewis, you're damn sure that Usyk would be absolutely more switched on with that weapon that Lewis has got. So that would be my argument to that. You know, and I'm not being an Usyk fanboy. I'm not saying he beats Ali in his prime. I'm just saying he deserves, for me, to be in and around the top 5. That's where I place him, somewhere in there.
Definitely, for sure. Because you've got to look at, for me, how you've got to judge it is you've got to judge it on achievements, yeah? And in every era, the achievements are different, you know? Like, so if you take, so Usyk at heavyweight, he's come up from cruiserweight at heavyweight. He's beat everyone who's been a champion at this weight, and he's been considered the best. AJ was considered the man. So was Fury, and he's beat them both twice. You've got to give him respect for that. Just like when you go back to like Lennox Lewis becoming undisputed champion, he fought. Yes, he didn't fight everyone when they was at their best, but that's not his fault. He still beat every single person in his era who was considered the best. Yep. He beat Holyfield. He beat Tyson. Yeah, he beat Holyfield. He beat Tyson. He even beat the young gun coming up, Vitaly Klitschko. So, you know, if people are doing these things, you've got to give them their respect. If they're beating other, he beat Shannon Briggs when he was champ. Beat him. He was champion. Because he beat George Foreman. Like, so you got to give Lewis, like, if they achieve certain things, you have to give them their respect and put them an all-time great. You can say, they was a good fighter, but you can't say, in this guy's prime. No, if they achieve great things in their career, like becoming undisputed, like beating everyone, like, give them their flowers and give them their respect and stop saying you can't compare.
Well, I don't know why we do this in boxing. I've noticed this in boxing more than other sports, maybe in football a bit. You wouldn't get a gold now. Usain Bolt, all right, put him on. He's on another planet, right? But you wouldn't have a kind of multiple world champion, right? You know, I'm comparing it to 2 weight division undisputed. You know, won 2 Olympic gold. Oh yeah, brilliant sprinter, brilliant gold medalist, but weren't as good as Carl Lewis 50 years ago. Like, who fucking cares? Like, he just won you know.
And they used to fight more regularly back in the day. They used to have less belts, and in some areas they fought 15 rounds. So you can't compare. You can't And one thing I'd say, I think Usyk would be all right fighting 15 rounders. To be honest, I think Usyk can handle it. I think you can. That's another
video, probably, isn't it, Chris? His gas tank's probably another video, but perhaps we won't go there just yet. But
because of his engine, I think he's the only fighter that could probably mix it up with the old school guys, because I think he's got the stamina to fight for 15 rounds like they did back in the days when they used to have wars. Championship rounds was like 14 and 15. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I like what he's. Some people maybe going up weight divisions, you know, from cruiserweight to heavyweight, feel they've got to put on like a Coley did, and I think he wants to come back down. I get that, but putting on too much weight too soon. But what I like, what Usyk's done, everything has been premeditated, and he's thought through. He's a real thinker, you know, such a high IQ in general, and he's just put that weight on naturally, going up to heavyweight, putting on 1.5 stone, 2 stone, and not really losing any conditioning. Footwork still exemplary, stamina still exemplary. Now people can go on in the comments and talk about, oh, he's taking this, doing that. You know, innocent till proven guilty, I always say. You just sometimes get these guys who've just got natural, you know, genetics and ability, you know, like Wilder's right hand. You know, he was just born with that nuclear bomb of a right hand, you know. That isn't necessarily because he's having some amazing supplement or shilajit from the Himalayan mountains, you know. And some people have just genetically got gifts. It is what it is, you know.
Like everyone's got him, like Fury. When you knock him down, he recovers really quick. He doesn't stay hurt. AJ, he stays hurt for about 2-3 rounds when you knock him down.
And did you hear? I read this in Fury's book. So I'm sure because you're very well schooled, similar to me. Apparently, Fury has more. I can't remember. I always get on the biology of it. He either has more white. I think it's more white blood cells that can generate more oxygen. Yeah. So he can get oxygen into his blood quicker naturally. Now, some people have that, some people don't. So even when he's hurt, he's able to recover because he's able to get that oxygen back in his system. Now, that's just a genetic anomaly. You know, like you say, when Joshua gets hurt, it takes him 3 rounds to recover.
Yeah, so, he stays hurt.
But, yes. But what? Yeah.
So, for the outro of this video, we just want to shout out a few comments that we've highlighted.
Oh, yeah.
I'll put them in the outro. Like, we really think you're on Concierge video, and we really think they were really, really good comments. And maybe we'll just show them now, and they will be on the outro of the video. So check out for that in the chapters. Oh no, that's Eddie Hearn's all-time great list. What a plonker!
What we put Fury above Usyk? I had to send you that to put on here. What's all that about?
Look at that. Muhammad Ali, number 1, Joe Frazier, Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, Sonny Liston, Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe, George Foreman, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, and Usyk.
Can you believe as well, other than Anthony Joshua's his man, so he has to say that. Yeah. Can you believe he put fucking Mike Tyson above Lennox Lewis? Like, really?
I wouldn't, to be honest, I wouldn't even put Riddick Bowe in there. And I wouldn't put Anthony Joshua in there. And I wouldn't put Tyson Fury in there either.
Yeah, I mean, no Larry Holmes. No Larry Holmes, Joe Lewis. Like, I don't know.
You know. But at least he's got Ali as number 1. That's one thing. Yeah. Well, for me, even though he was boring, he was boring as fuck. Yeah. I didn't like really watching his fights. You've got to have Klitschko in there. He dominated for about 10 years.
I know. He doesn't get the respect he deserves as well. Or Vitaly Klitschko, because a bit more exciting, maybe.
Yeah, he was more exciting, but he was a gust in the wind. Like, won the title, defended it a few times, lost, won it. His brother won it back, defended it a few times, then became a senator. He weren't like...
Talk about British bias in there, Christo. Like, I'm surprised that he didn't put Henry Cooper in the top 10.
I'm surprised Frank Bruno's not in there at number 1.
Oh, big up Henry Cooper and Frank. But we love you, but you know you're not anywhere near the top 10. But yeah.
Well, this comment, obviously, big up this guy, Jude Karaki. Yeah. Very, very, very good insights there. And then this guy, VD Victor. Definitely top 5 Hall of Fame. It is,
Yeah.
man. Like, you just because you don't like someone's style of fighting or you don't like them, you can't just say the shit or not give them their respect. Because I hated Klitschko's fights. I was so happy when Fury beat him, but I have to give him his respect because he dominated for 10 years. So you've got to say he's an all-time great just for that reason. And you can't say, oh, there was no one around after Lewis retired. It's not a good enough excuse to not let someone give them their props when they've been champion. And every time they lost, apart from Fury, because he ducked the rematch, apart from Fury, he always avenged all his losses. Or his brother did a weird rematch.
Absolutely. I think it's as you've said though with those two is that because it was such a weak era, and because they did dominate for more Vladimir, to be fair, than Vitaly, who was a bit more kind of action. Because of he was a bit of a 1-2 merchant, old Klitschko, when he jabbed right hand. He used his kind of size. He outsized most people, but like you say, again, I tend to agree. Ultimately, there isn't much. If you haven't got a dance partner, that's like saying, right, and maybe I'll finish with this point. Okay. That's like saying, we regard Terence Crawford as probably the pound-for-pound great of the last 10 years in many people's eyes, right?
Yeah.
So going, but he ain't really had a dance partner. Errol Spence, he dismantled, and he hasn't fought him. He hasn't. Well, yeah, but he's won world titles at what, 3-4 weights? You know, I don't like the argument.
It's like I think Crawford's been a 4-weight world champion, unified champion, and undisputed champion in 2 weight classes. Undisputed champion in 2 weight classes. So unified in 3 weight classes, and champion in 4 or something like that. Like that is amazing. No matter what you say, what opposition that is, to do that in boxing is very hard, especially in the 4-belt era. So whatever the opposition's like, amazing, and he's got to go down all-time legendary great forever.
But I can see people making the same argument though, Chris. It's this saying that but that's why I wanted to title the vid, and we haven't confirmed what the title is yet. I think it was something like all the era elitists and Fury fanboys put respect on Usyk's name, because it's these era elitists. It's these in the PlayStation 1 days,
Right. Well, it's getting on a bit, so I feel we better call.
We'll wrap it up.
About this all day.
Leave some comments. Leave some comment if you because we're clearly pro Usyk in this respect. But anyone who doesn't agree or doesn't think Usyk is anywhere near the top 5 or top 10 or any counter arguments to us, leave them in, because we love a bit of debate and other opinion. Don't have to agree with us. Give us your thoughts.
That's your opinion. We'd love to hear it. The video's a little bit long today. Like and subscribe. I'll put chapters in the description. So if you don't want to listen to all of the whole video, you can just skip to the bits that you want. All right, guys? Like and subscribe. Hope you enjoy.
Peace. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Okay. Boxing Bros UK. Watch it.
Thanks, sir. Okay.